Coach Eason, thank you for joining us today. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here and kind of recap our season and just chat with you tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, congratulations on another IEAC title back to back. And I believe this will be the fourth playoff appearance in the last 5 years. Let's get started. Tell me, Coach, what is the secret that you had this year? Let's talk about it first, going undefeated in the conference.
Yeah. I think really like when we look back, not back, but when we look back on this season and look at kind of the success that our team has had, one thing that our coaching staff and team talks about kind of how we got here is really that COVID year and
Sure.
what we did during that time off and how we prepared to be in this situation. That was something that we kept talking to our girls about, trying to keep them engaged during that year off. I think for any coach that coached through a pandemic and has coached through the COVID stuff, it was very, difficult. So at that time, and even now, it was how are we going to continue to keep the culture of our program in this situation?
Absolutely. I mean, kind of let's go in a little bit more detail on that same note.
Yeah.
With so many distractions, as you talked about there with the shutdowns, not knowing when we're going to start, right? And on top of that, if we do start, what does happen when we do shut down, right? Because of the pandemic. What was your strategy, and what was the message that you kept telling your guys, your ladies, about how they kept focused? And also with that, what are some of the specific challenges that you can recall that made last year so different than any other year that you coached?
Yeah. So I think the one word that comes to mind when we think about 2020 is perseverance, and for us, we use the word grit a lot as well.
Okay.
But that was something that we had to continuously tell our team every single day.
Sure.
I I really attribute our success this year to our preparation during that time. The girls, the girls at that time needed some type of outlet.
Of
Their
course.
normal outlet as volleyball players, to come into the gym, to work out, to be in person, right, was taken away from them.
Sure.
And the hardest part was not being able to sit and tell them, hey, ladies, this is the date that we're coming back, right?
Sure.
Or
Sure.
when we would tell them that, it would change,
Sure.
right? So I think step one was like for me, continuing to keep that organization and structure no matter what the circumstances were. So I'm a very organized and structured coach. I run a very organized program. So even during Zoom, our athletes for 10 months straight were on Zoom meetings 2 to 3 times a week for 2 hours at a time. And one thing that I think says a lot about our coaching staff and the athletes that we had in it this year was just that we had 23 girls that stayed during that COVID year. And I don't think it was because we were doing anything magical over Zoom.
Sure.
We were trying to get different ideas, keep these girls engaged, but also just meet the girls where they're at and talk to them. I think that girls they have a lot of athletes or friends that when the world shut down, their program shut down as well, right? We tried to do the opposite. When the world shut down, we were trying to still be that outlet for them, give them some type of routine, give them some type of stability, mentoring, anything that we can do to keep these girls engaged during probably one of right now the hardest times of their athletic career, that they've had to go through.
Of course. And as people say, proof's in the pudding. 17-5 this year, 10-0 makes it that even more spectacular and amazing due to the fact that, as you mentioned, and not just your program, but there's a lot of programs that obviously had a lot of different difficulties as far as making sure you're, as you mentioned, keeping up with the players, making sure they're doing what's needed to be done, whether that's through Zoom or sometimes in-person meetings towards the towards the slowdown of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And over the last 2 years, I believe your record has been 30-16 overall, and 18-2 in the conference. So you guys are definitely doing something right over there, and it's something to be spoken for. Hey, Coach, I believe the seedings come out today.
Yep,
Uh,
I'm waiting. I have my phone
yeah.
right here, just
Okay.
waiting for those seedings.
What's your message to your athletes right now while you guys are waiting for that? And what's the strategy moving forward once you guys do get the seedings and what game you guys will be playing next?
Yeah. Our first message is preparing. And like that's every day that we're in the gym. Our girls are coming in and still working out. They're
Yeah.
coming in each day looking at what we need to get better at, and I think my message, one thing that once we ended our Chafee game, and it was a really good match to end with because
Mhm.
Chafee, they played phenomenal on Monday when we played against them. So it was a very competitive match. And one thing that, we came in Tuesday morning and talked about was, great job. We're undefeated. We made school history again,
Mhm.
but now we're all 0-0,
Yeah.
so right now, this is another chapter of our season and anything can happen,
Sure.
so I really wanted to have our team understand the importance of preparing for Saturday, preparing
Mhm.
for Tuesday, whenever we play.
Mhm.
No matter if we're the number 3 seed or the 18th seed,
Yeah.
that's not going to change. And we're going to compete the same way no matter what.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach, you had many outstanding players from Villafranca, Ruiz, Starnes, Thompson, Sotelo. They were fantastic this year, right? We know the amazing stats they produced, the numbers they turned in. Were there any other athletes that you had on your team that particularly stood out or that you remember that contributed a lot?
Yeah. The players I think I most, talk about when asked this question is really one. Ruby was here. She was like our only true sophomore that has been in here. Everybody else was really freshmen
Mhm.
with collegiate volleyball wise. And then my 7 players that stayed during the pandemic that were sophomores and that
Mhm.
stayed, so spent their whole freshman year. So we have Alicia, Kiana, Odessa. She was a transfer, and Chanel as well. Those 7 players were really the glue to our team and keeping everyone together this year.
Yep, it definitely takes that effort of team, and you guys have something amazing going on over there. I know you don't like to talk about yourself a lot, but we do have to mention it. You know, as of last night, with a unanimous vote of all the coaches in the conference, you're named the IEAC 2021 Women's Volleyball Coach of the Year. So congratulations on that, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got to ask. So tell me, this award, what does this mean to you?
I think like a coach of the year award, it comes down to your coaching staff. It's not just a one person award. It really shows our
Mhm.
coaching staff. I was very blessed this year to have a strong coaching staff that really stuck with our team during the ups and the downs,
Sure.
and we have Taylor Kushner has been our assistant. She actually was on the team the first year that I coached,
Mhm.
and she was probably one of the best players that have ever came out of MSJC volleyball. So
Uh,
she has coached here for 4 years. And Nara, she was our coach during the pandemic and the year before when in 2019. She
mhm.
actually is now coaching at UCR. And we got another coach in here, Brittany, that has a Division I background, and she just came in and didn't miss a beat. So I think the coach of the year really comes down to our coaching staff and the culture that we're creating as a coaching staff. And we could not have done it without those ladies, because especially during the pandemic, I was out telling them some crazy things. We were coming up with different workouts, different
Yeah, yeah,
nutrition things to do, and they just
sure.
bought into it and stayed positive and did their job.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, one last question, and thank you for your time. We're joined by Coach Eason out at Mount Jacinto College, IEAC 2021 Women's Volleyball Champions, and also the IEAC Women's Volleyball Coach of the Year. With the title in hand and again, the award, is there anything you want to tell your athletes who might be listening right now and also the supporters that have followed you throughout the year? And I know you've got to run because I know you're waiting for that call or that text message to prepare for your next game, but what would be the message you would get to your guys?
I would say, um, you know, thank you for their sacrifice, my athletes, you know, and all the stuff that they've done to get to this point, and that they have continued to change the culture. I think one thing that's exciting about our program that I would want, you know, supporters to know and that our athletes know is it's just evolving every year. You know, every 4 years ago, we started making it to playoffs. 2 years ago, we won our first conference title, and it's continuing to evolve. So it's very exciting for future recruits coming into our program and just
Mhm.
continuing to build, you know. And one of the most exciting things that I want everybody to know is we are adding sand this year, beach volleyball, to in spring, which is going to be huge for
Okay.
us. And it's
Okay.
going to be at our Menifee campus as well. So that's very exciting for our program.
Amazing. I will definitely talk to you offline about that. And coach, I know you've got to run, but please send me a text or give me a call when you guys know where you'll be. And once again, congratulations, Coach Eason, IEAC 2021 Women's Volleyball Coach of the Year. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.